Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with a Spain news update, and the 20 cent per litre government fuel rebate has started today, the 1st of April, and news about this rebate is dominating the press here in Spain today, but more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel by buying merchandise, and a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your ongoing support. Now, let's get into the news, and as I said, the Spanish government's latest brainwave, a 20 cent per litre fuel rebate, has started today. And news about this fuel rebate dominating the press here today. As we can see here, petrol rebate applies from Friday. How does it work and who benefits? Every litre of petrol or diesel that is refueled from this Friday at Spanish petrol stations will receive a bonus of 20 cents. This is one of the measures included in the shock plan that the government has approved with the aim of mitigating the economic consequences of the war. How long will it last? The measure, which starts this Friday, will last for 3 months. And how does the discount work? Users will not have to apply for any type of procedure to access the fuel rebate. The discount will already be applied to the price. So there we go, the fuel rebate's starting today, and it's going to last for 3 months. And what do you have to do to get this discount when you fill up in Spain? Absolutely nothing, as it should be automatically added to the price you pay. So how is the central government going to control if petrol stations apply the discount or not? Well, they're not, because the central government has transferred to the autonomous regions the responsibility of ensuring that petrol stations comply with the price reductions. The Minister for Consumer Affairs, Alberto Garzón, sent a letter to the regional premiers on Wednesday in which he explains the scope of the government shock plan as it affects consumers, especially with regard to fuel prices. In the letter, to which El Mundo has had access, Garzón asks the autonomous regions to be the ones to monitor the effective fulfillment of the commitments of the oil companies when it comes to lowering the price of petrol and diesel and the correct application of the fuel rebate. So the central government approved this rebate last Tuesday in its shock plan, but when it comes to controlling the effective fulfillment of its commitments, they pass that on to the autonomous communities. So if things go wrong and people start to complain, it's not the central government's fault. So what has been the reaction by motorists to the first day of this rebate? Well, as we can see here, queues of vehicles at Vizcaya petrol stations on the first day of the 20 cents per litre discount, 20 cents less per litre. This is the discount enjoyed from midnight tonight until June the 30th by all drivers, whether private or professional, who go to petrol stations to fill up. Despite the fact that service stations in Vizcaya have been working flat out since early in the morning, the first queues of vehicles to take advantage of this discount are starting to appear from the very first day. The first customers say they do not see much change with respect to the prices they have been seeing in recent weeks. Jose Piniers, one of the first drivers to arrive at the service station, and complain that the system is a bit confusing because, as he has been told, you don't have to look at the price on the panels. So queues of vehicles at service stations in the Basque Country taking advantage of this 20 cent discount. But as we saw, according to one motorist, it's a little bit confusing. Now obviously the government is happy about this fuel rebate, motorists are happy about the fuel rebate, but what about service stations? Are they happy? Well, the answer is no, because as we can see here, the service station associations have come out in defense of petrol stations. It's as if you were invited to dinner, but you have to pay for it. The 1st of April, the 20 cents per litre rebate on fuel with which the government intends to relieve citizens' pockets has finally come into force, but the improvisation with which the measure has been deployed has condemned service stations to having to advance 100% of this aid for drivers from their income, which could cost many of them bankruptcy. So there we go, everyone seems happy except the service stations, because they're the ones that have to put the money up front, and they're not happy about it. And so unhappy are some service station owners that they've closed the doors. As we can see here, a Cuenca petrol station announces it is closing due to the fuel price cut. It will cost us 1,300 euros a day. The La Peña Moratalla petrol station has announced that it will not open this Friday. They have put up a sign warning their customers that they are forced to close temporarily because they do not see it feasible to advance money. Friday is the day on which the aid of 20 cents per litre for fuel approved by the government government, as part of its national plan to deal with the economic effects of the war in Ukraine, comes into force. And at this petrol station, they consider that it is an expense they cannot afford. They have passed the buck on to us. We are the ones who in principle have to reimburse the customer out of our own pocket, and we can't afford it, says Javier Lopez, one of the employees of this service station. So basically, and from what we can gather from the articles that we have seen so far, this new rebate on fuel seems like another botched government plan. But let's be honest, that's nothing unusual here in Spain. Now, we saw the other day that inflation figures here in Spain for March have hit 9.7%. And a lot of people are worried what state the economy is going to be in come December. And a well-known economist here in Spain has given his thoughts on the matter. As we can see here, leading economist predicts what will happen in Spain in December. When in 2006, Santiago Niño Becerra warned of a future economic crisis, not many believed him. This economist saw, long before others, the arrival of the 2008 crisis. 2 years earlier, he had already foreseen the possible economic consequences of what was to come, due, in his words, to high rates of indebtedness. Now the economic guru has launched a new prediction on Espejo Público about the Spanish economy just after learning the inflation figure for the month of March, 9.8%. Firstly, the expert recalls the Bank of Spain's estimate, which calculated inflation at around 10% at the end of March and beginning of April. Inflation of 9.8% in March is equivalent to between 11 and 12% in December, he points out. So inflation rates high at the moment, 9.8% in March, but come December, they're going to be even worse, according to the economist Santiago Niño Becerra. So that's something to look forward to. Now, we all know that the recent transport workers' strike here in Spain has led consumers to clear supermarket shelves of certain products, for example, milk and flour. And as a result of this, the Spanish government has allowed supermarket rationing to prevent shortages. Spanish supermarkets can legally ration consumer purchases of certain products under a new provision published Wednesday in the state's official bulletin. The text, which provides legal cover, says the restrictions can be applied exceptionally and when there are extraordinary circumstances or force majeure to justify it. The move came as empty shelves appeared in many supermarkets due to the combined effect of a truck driver's strike and the Ukraine war. Most of the empty shelves have been due to an ongoing lorry driver's strike over soaring diesel prices, which began on March 14th and has curbed supplies of milk, flour, rice and other basic goods. So supermarkets here in Spain now allowed to enforce rationing to prevent shortages. And I'll just check the calendar to make sure we are in 2022 and not 1941. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from Heidi: I was blown away by the panic buying recently. Could not even find a drop of milk, even the UHT stuff. Saw people pushing whole shopping trolleys full up with UHT, leaving nothing for anyone else. Their punishment is probably having to drink the stuff before it all goes off. Yeah, Heidi, thanks for the comment, and you're right, people have been going absolutely crazy at supermarkets here in Spain in recent times, cleaning the shelves of milk, flour, rice, pasta and other products that you can store for a long time. But as we saw back in early 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic, there seems to be fairly normal human behaviour. People come to the conclusion, rightly or wrongly, that there's going to be a shortage of a certain product and they panic buy. And now, as we saw a couple of minutes ago, that has led the government to allow supermarkets to ration certain products. One here from Anne: thanks Stuart for your reply and comments. Either way, we are back in Fuerteventura in May, form or no form. As always, we put far more euros into the economy than we budget for. Yan, thanks for the comment, and good to see that the Spanish government's health form to enter the country hasn't put you off your holiday to Fuerteventura. Let's hope a lot of other people follow your lead and spend their tourist dollars here in Spain, because the Spanish economy needs them. One here from David: hi Stu, just to keep you in the frame, spent a fantastic week in Bournemouth last week. Hotels, restaurants, bars heaving, beach about 30% occupied. If you ever venture back to the UK, or ask Ivan, give it a try. Yeah, David, thanks for the comment, and thanks for keeping us up to date on the tourist situation there in Bournemouth in the south of England. But to be honest, I have no upcoming plans to spend a week at a British seaside resort, especially when I've got some of the best beaches in Europe no more than a few hours away. One here from Mad Planet: Canary and Weekly are wrong. Yesterday it was announced masks will remain for indoors and entry requirements for unvaccinated British citizens will stay in place for another month. No unvaccinated adult Brits allowed to Spanish territories throughout April, although a COVID recovery certificate will suffice. Yeah, Mad Planet, thanks for the comment. And I also read the other day that the Canarian Weekly did in fact get it wrong with their prediction that the no vax, no entry mandate on British people would go away shortly. But alas, that was not the case. And as you pointed out in your comment, it has been extended for another month. So no Spain Easter break for unvaccinated people from the UK, unless they can prove that they have had COVID in the last 6 months. One here from NDC. Hey Stu, I had a look on Google Maps and counted 11 nuclear power plants. Any idea what the proportion of power is generated by these plants? The MDC, thanks for the comment, but I don't think that there are 11 nuclear power plants in this country. In fact, after a quick Google search, I found this, and it says that in Spain, 5 nuclear power plants are in operation, located in 5 locations, 2 of which have 2 reactors each, for which a total of 7 light water reactors with an electrical power installed capacity of 7,398.77 megawatts. And if we have a look at this graph, we can see that 21.2% of Spain's energy comes from nuclear. So 5 nuclear power plants currently in operation and generating just over 21% of Spain's energy needs. But that won't be the case for much longer, because all nuclear power plants in Spain will be shut down by 2035. And finally, one here from Philip. Stu, do you have a weather app that you would recommend that is specific to the Iberian Peninsula? Yeah, Philip, thanks for the comment, and the answer is no, I do not have a specific app for weather here in Spain. I just used the one that was pre-installed on my phone when I bought it, and in my opinion, it's pretty accurate. But if anybody out there does know of a good weather app for the Iberian Peninsula, please let Philip know in the comment section below. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.